Sports Day is brought to you by Barton Community College. Explore your future and get started now. Visit gobarton.com.
Okay, Sports Day in 3, 2, 1.
Jones plugs one toward left center field. It's well hit. It's in the alley. It'll go to the wall. Schneemann scores. Ramirez scores. Manzardo stops at third. It's a two-run double for Nolan Jones, and the rout is on.
With Ramirez and Schneemann scoring, the Guardians have scored 6 runs in the inning, and they now lead it 8-0.
Thielen in motion. McCarthy keeps. He's got it. And forces his way into the end zone. Touchdown. And now it's Tanner Scott trying to finish off a combined no-hitter. At the plate, Ryan Ritter driven to deep left field, and that'll break it up. And now the Rockies will get the tying run to the plate on a leadoff double by Ryan Ritter against Scott.
And you can hear the bluebirds, because they know what happened the other day in Baltimore when he blew his 9th save of the season.
Happy Tuesday, everybody. Welcome in to another episode of Sports Day. My name is Brant Daughtry. I'm the host of this fine program. We've got a good show for you. Jim Carter, head coach of Barton Community College Volleyball, will join me in just a few moments. We also had on Wyatt Thompson, the voice of the Kansas State Wildcats. He joins me for a short conversation. We've got a whole lot coming up for you. We're also going to look at the future of the Kansas City Royals, not the extended future, just the immediate future, and what their playoff hopes look like, and what they need to do going down the stretch to try and catch up with Cleveland, who, as you heard, beat them pretty badly last night. Let's get into it. Sounds of the past 24 hours. The Royals were nearly no-hit last night by the Guardians in a 10-2 loss. The first Royals base hit came in the 8th inning from Michael Massey. The game was largely decided in the 4th inning when the Guardians scored 6 runs to go ahead 8-0. You heard the last of those six runs. With the loss, the Guardians move ahead of the Royals in the standings and in the wild card race. The Royals are now 3 games out of a wild card spot. They are behind the Guardians in the standings. So these next 2 games are of the utmost importance for the Royals, and we're gonna look at the schedule at the end of the show, and we're going to show off just how dire those straits are. But getting down to the wire in Major League Baseball in the regular season, they're still alive. They've still got a really good chance, but they've got to turn it on in a hurry, and they're going to have to get kind of lucky as well. So something to consider there. The Minnesota Vikings were down 17-6 in the 4th quarter last night to the Chicago Bears, but the Vikings scored 21 points in the final quarter to win the game 27-24. That was such a weird game because it was kind of boring. The Bears started out so hot. Caleb Williams started off so hot. He looked incredible. He looked like a first overall pick should look in year 2 under a new play caller who's got, all the momentum behind him. Ben Johnson, I thought, was a really excellent hire for the Bears, especially with the talent that they're bringing in. Revamped the offensive line, and man, for the first 2 quarters, I'd say, for the first half of that game, it looked like it should. It looked like an offense that had been rebuilt, had been restructured, and looked really dadgum good. But in the second half, that offense kind of faltered. Caleb Williams looked bad, man. He sailed a couple of open receivers. He had a wide open touchdown, a man all by himself, and he just missed. He threw it 5 yards out of bounds. It looked like guy making his first start in high school, where, clearly kid's got a lot of talent, but his adrenaline's a little too high, which you cannot have in the 3rd and 4th quarter of a guy who's in his 2nd year as a starter in the NFL. Credit to J.J. McCarthy, though, and the Vikings, Kevin O'Connell, that group. They were dead in the water. They were absolutely dead in the water. And after just a dismal first 3 quarters where they couldn't get anything going, and J.J. McCarthy looked horrendous. His threw one of the worst pick sixes you'll ever see in this game. All of a sudden, they just turn it on. And he has a touchdown pass. He runs for a score. He runs for the go-ahead score, gets mobbed by his teammates after that. It was a moment of, man, this guy, whatever it is, I don't know if he's the best quarterback in the world, but he's got something. And the Vikings were able to take advantage of that last night. It was crazy that I was like 2 minutes from going to bed. This is the second night in a row that this has happened. I was like, man, I've got work tomorrow. I've got to be up kind of early. If the team that's winning can score one more time, they're on a drive. If they score on this drive, I'm done. I'm going to bed. And, you put those kind of conditions on it. Well, the conditions happen to where you wake up, where you stay up, and you're rewarded with a really incredible comeback. Was not as awesome as the Sunday night game between the Ravens and Bills, but still, Vikings and Bears was still a really, really cool game with a really fun comeback win. And lastly, the Dodgers lost a bid at a combined no-hitter for the second time in 3 games last night. As was one out in the ninth, Tanner Scott gave up a double to Ryan Ritter. The Dodgers, though, were able to hold on and win the game 3-1. I don't know. I don't remember if I put this on Sounds of the Past 24 Hours a couple of days ago when this happened, but the Dodgers were 1 out away from a combined no-hitter and somehow lost the game. Tanner Scott blew that save. And it was kind of brutal for him. Luckily for Tanner Scott and the LA Dodgers, who are kind of scuffling right now, which is weird to say. Lucky for them, he was able to pull it together and get the final 2 outs. And the Dodgers wound up winning that game 3-1. So those are your sounds of the last 24 hours. Sports Day today is brought to you by the Cougar Booster Club, presented by the Barton Cougar Booster Club, continuing their efforts to make the Barton Athletic Department the best in the country. And by Equity Bank, here when you need us. Bank local, save big with in-person banking and business banking. Visit equitybank.com for more information. Equity Bank in Great Bend, Hoisington, and Larned. Hey, speaking of the Barton Cougar Athletic Department, that's going to be our first interview today. We've got Jim Carter, the head volleyball coach of the Barton Community College Cougars. He's going to come in and join me for a quick conversation here in just a little bit. So that'll be right after this break. Stick around. You're listening to Sports Day here on 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM, live from the Mayo Money Management Studios.
Barton Community College has college classes that fit your life and your budget. With 5 flexible start dates, Barton Online is perfect for picking up a class or earning your associate's degree at less than half the cost of a university. Study anytime, from anywhere. Save time, save money. Start strong with Barton Online. Ready to take the next step? Visit online.bartoncccc.edu and enroll today.
Selling your farm or ranch acres can be stressful. At Red Cedar Land Company, they are extremely diverse in the number of ways they can represent you, and they tailor each project to meet their seller's needs. One of the biggest questions for a seller is, what is my land worth? At Red Cedar Land Company, they offer a free market analysis to help you better understand the value of your land. You deserve a better selling experience. Put your trust in Red Cedar Land Company. Call Cody Crook with Red Cedar Land Company at 620-617-7320. Needing a healthcare plan for your business? Let the experienced team at Freedom Claims Management Incorporated customize a health insurance plan that fits your needs. Whether you're a large company or a small business on Main Street, FCMI can help you provide employees with great health coverage at an affordable cost. From setup to ongoing support, they handle it all. Schedule your free no-obligation health assessment today at freedomclaimsinc.com. That's Freedom Claims Management Incorporated, with locations in Great Bend, Russell, and Plainville.
Service from people you know, quality products and professional installation. That's Kern Floor Service. Stop by Kern Floor Service and browse through the different selections of flooring from laminate to vinyl, carpet, wood, and ceramic tile. See their selection of area rugs or special order the one that fits your decor, and don't forget, they can spice up those countertops too. So stop by Kern Floor Service today. Kern Floor Service, 908 Coolidge in Great Bend.
Sutherland's is your complete home improvement and hardware store. Tens of thousands of products are in stock at everyday low prices. Sutherland's also offers custom buildings, including post-frame barns, garages, and deck packages too. The friendly and knowledgeable staff at Sutherland's, always ready to help you with any project. From hardware, lumber, cabinets, plywood, and OSB, fencing, power tools, furniture, and more. They simply sell for less. Sutherland's, West 10th, Great Bend, helping America build it better since 1917.
Welcome back into Sports Day. Brant Daughtry here with you now, and joined now by head Barton volleyball coach Jim Carter. Coach, thanks for taking the time to join us.
Hey, thanks for having me here. It's nice to be here.
Hey, Coach, last time we talked, you were still undefeated. You told me that the tournament you were going to that day was going to be a little bit of a speed bump for you, and you did lose one of those matches, but your team continues to roll, and then over this weekend you travel to Odessa, Texas, and you sweep that matchup. So update folks on what's been going on and how your team's doing.
You know, we're progressing about the point where I feel like we should be, and the good part is we've got 9 freshmen, and almost all of them have all of them have a role on the team. Everybody we're down to 11 kids. We had a player go out with an ACL, so all 11 kids are playing and contributing. 9 out of those 11 kids are freshmen, so we're 8 out of those 11 kids are freshmen, and they're all growing, doing what they're supposed to do. We were lucky enough to move up to number 3 in the national rankings this week, but we have a rough week ahead of us. So, yeah.
So before we touch on this upcoming week, which we definitely will, talk about Odessa. You went 4-0, played 2 teams that were both in the top 15, and wound up sweeping that matchup.
Yeah, we grew a little bit. We got pushed in the right ways. To be honest, the teams that we played, the matchups were kind of in our favor, so that allowed us to make a few mistakes and still be able to come through. And we didn't go 5 with anybody. We dropped 2 sets over the weekend, and both pretty close sets. So we came really close to having 3-4 straight sweeps. But I kind of it's the old adage of you got to lose sometimes to improve, and luckily we were able to drop some sets and improve and not have to lose another match to figure things out. So it's coming along.
I was going to introduce you as the 5th ranked Barton Cougars, but you said that you got bumped up to number 3 this week.
We did. There was a couple teams in front of us that had losses, and whether we're really the number 3 team in the nation or not remains to be seen. You get the ranking, then you gotta earn it. You gotta keep it, and we got some tough matches this weekend. We're playing a Dodge City team that's only 2 games above 500, but really well coached. Got some great individual athletes, and they've played a really tough preseason schedule. So I don't think that they're really only a 2 game above 500 team. I think they're much better than that. And then we'll play 2 really solid teams this weekend, and 2 teams that if you don't play well can beat you. So we've got our work cut out for us this week.
And you're playing home matches at Dodge City, or not home matches, but you're playing most of your matches at Dodge City right now.
Well, we've switched pretty much all of our home matches are now away matches, and we'll play our home stuff. Hopefully, at the end of the season, our gym will be ready to go, and then we'll play 8 of our last 9 matches at home.
Okay, yeah, I wanted to ask about that. How are the renovations going? What's the update that you have on that?
They're going. So we've been lucky enough to have access at least to practice in the main gym a lot. I noticed this morning when I went in that they had some stuff roped off. So I think that's going to be out of commission for probably the next 3 or 4 weeks, and hopefully they're going to be able to get some extra people out there and get things done. But that is above my pay grade. So
sure.
I just show up and do what I'm supposed to do and don't ask a lot of questions.
Yeah, I spoke with Raphael Simmons, the soccer coach here, I think 2 weeks ago, and he kind of said the same thing where he said, it's super exciting. We're looking forward to the new facilities when they are done, but it is a little bit frustrating right now to not have any home matches.
Yes, and it's really going to get us prepared for the national tournament, and the fact that we're having to fight. We're having to do everything on the road. This I don't know what 11-2 or 13-2 record that we have right now has come on the road every single match. 2 of those have been conference matches. So I and with as many freshmen as we have, it can only get better when we get home is my thoughts about the whole situation.
Talk a little bit about that freshman class, what you expect of them as they continue to grow older, not just this year, but coming back next year, and some of the pieces that you're going to try and bring in. I know things get a little bit squirrely when talking about recruiting, but what can you tell us about that?
I think this year could be really good. I think next year could be really special if I can bring the right kids in. We're going to lose, 3 really good sophomores that, I think we have 2 good freshman setters right now that are splitting time and trying to make decisions. I'm a real big stat guy. And you look at these 2 freshman setters on stats and you really can't tell them apart. I mean, one's got a few more digs per set and one's got a half assist per set more. And then, one of them has more aces, but another one of them, has had less service errors. So they're really just splitting time. And then we have a sophomore who's kind of a mainstay. We're lucky enough that this week we got a commitment from a really solid middle. We're going to lose a really solid middle, but we got a really solid kid from Brazil who committed, who will be here for spring semester. And then we're talking to, obviously, a lot of Kansas kids. With the small roster this year, I'm hoping to bump that number back up to around 16 next year. That's just a comfortable number. But on the flip side, with everybody playing, everybody's happy, So I have a very happy group this year. These freshmen are, playing above the level of what a normal freshman would be, in my estimation. And that's just a credit to them. That's a credit to the maturity of the kids that are here and their ability to assimilate and be taught a system and stay within it. A lot of times you don't really get that from a freshman. It's not until their spring semester, their freshman year, and coming back as a sophomore that they really start to get it. These guys are ahead of the curve.
How you liking Great Bend so far? You're almost as new here as I am.
Yeah, I like it. I go to work and come home and take care of my daughter and the dogs and the cats, and that's really about all there is time for right now. So, when the season's over, I got here not late summer, midsummer, I guess, mid-July, and so right away I was trying to get things going there, so I didn't get a chance to get out and explore or do much. So, hopefully this spring I can kind of figure out what Kansas is really about. Right now it's just about taking care of this job and keeping this program where it needs to be.
What all do you have coming this week? You said you got Dodge County tomorrow, right?
We got Dodge. Yeah, we got Dodge tomorrow night. And then we start off with a really good Laramie County team on Saturday. And then Odessa, who we saw last weekend when we were in Odessa but didn't play. They're a top 10 team. I think right now they're maybe right around 10, but they don't make a ton of mistakes, and they're very athletic. And then we play a team from New Mexico that we swept last weekend, but they've got the tools that if they get hot and we're not playing well, they could give us a challenge. And then finish with Northeastern, who knocked off 3 top 10 teams last week. I think they had some injuries early on. They've got everybody back healthy now. Playing them at their home tournament, the last match of the tournament, 7 o'clock on Saturday night. They're going to have fans in the stands, and it's going to be probably our biggest challenge of the year, to be honest.
Well, like you said, that away environment is going to be a little bit. It's going to be a challenge.
Yeah, and they bumped all the way up to number 5 or 6 in the nation now, so they're playing to their potential and at home. So if we can get through this weekend undefeated, I will be ecstatic. And if we don't, then I'm sure we'll learn from it, and we've still got a lot of season left.
How big a boost is a home crowd to a volleyball team?
Well, volleyball is for those of you who may not have spent a lot of time watching volleyball, it's one of the most momentum-driven sports that I can think of. So when you've got that momentum going and you've got everybody clicking and the crowd's behind you, I'm not going to lie. I think that I've won matches before because of the crowd and because of the players feeding off the energy from having people that care about them there in the stands. It's just one of those intangible things that you can't really chalk up to statistics, but it should be a statistic. I don't know how you'd manage that, but it should be home crowd should be a statistic.
Well, you have home matches and away matches, but I mean, for you right now, you don't have any home matches to compare it to.
Nope, we are road warriors. So I've been told that we get a good crowd out here, and I would love to see that. And to be honest, we have played at home once. We had a scrimmage with Cowley early. Well, I guess it was towards the end of August, and even for that scrimmage, where we just played 4 sets, we had more people in the stands than I anticipated. Yeah,
that's really impressive. And what I have kind of found since I moved out here, and again, haven't been to an event there either myself, but it feels like the people that love Barton really love Barton, and they want to go all in on it, and the students know what a big deal the sports there are, and I'm looking forward to seeing that gym renovated and seeing you guys get going in there.
Yeah, it's a college town, and in terms of the renovations, after seeing about half the facilities in the Jayhawk, I mean, it was something that needed to be done to stay competitive. They're Dodge, Butler, they have amazing facilities. Hutch, obviously, maybe has the best facility out of everybody in the whole conference, So those things needed to be done, and unfortunately, short of just telling everybody, hey, we're going to take a year off from athletics, there's no other way to get it done.
Mm-hmm.
You got people practicing in there year round, so there's really no good time to do a renovation, but it needed to be done. So it is what it is.
Well, Coach, thanks for taking the time to come in today.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. That is Coach Jim Carter, head coach at Barton Community College Volleyball. We're back right after this. Hey, actually, we're back right now. Big thanks to Coach Carter for joining me in the studio earlier today. Had a lot of fun talking to him. They're a really impressive team. I want to walk people through this schedule real quick. They started their season officially Friday the 22nd. If you don't know, volleyball is a best of 5. You play till, I think, 25. Whoever gets to 5 sets winning, whoever gets to 3 wins over 5 particular sets. First to 3 wins in these winning sets. I just explained that in like the worst way possible, but you know what I mean. So here's the results of games they have played so far, or matches they have played so far. 3-0 win, 3-1 win, 3-1 win, 3-0, 3-0, 3-0. Lost 3-1 to 14th ranked Eastern Arizona College. Came back and won another 3-0 match. Got swept by Miami-Dade College, number 2 team in the country. But then 3-1 win, 3-0, 3-1, 3-1, 3-0, 3-0. In the matches they have won, they have not even gone to a 5th set yet. That is utter dominance from the Barton Community College volleyball team. This is such an impressive squad, and I'm really thankful to Coach Carter for coming in and joining us. Like he said, they're playing at Dodge City Community College tomorrow. That's at 6:30, and other stuff happening this week. They've got Laramie County College, Odessa College, New Mexico Junior College, Northeast Junior College. All of that, I believe, is at the Sheila Worley tournament that's going to be held in Sterling, Colorado. So this is a team that is going to be on the road a lot, and Coach Carter talked about it. They're road warriors, man. He's absolutely right in that volleyball is such a momentum sport, and that having things going your way is so, so important, and having a home crowd behind you is one of the most important things you can get in any sport, but especially the sport of volleyball for all the reasons that he listed. And it's super impressive that this team, outside of losing 3-1 to the number 14 team in the country and losing 3-0 to the number 2 team in the country, they're the 3rd-ranked team in the country right now because of the success they've had and the fact that it's all been on the road except for that one preseason scrimmage that they had. The fact that they've been able to make this happen has been super impressive to me. All right, after this next break, we're going to come back, and I'm going to play an interview that I had earlier today with Wyatt Thompson, the voice of the Kansas State Wildcats. Obviously, K-State not in a great space after what happened to them on Saturday. Wyatt and I are going to talk a little bit about that and what maybe the Wildcats can do moving forward. Before we do that, though, Sports Day is brought to you by C&E Doors, your full-service garage door company. Follow the orange sign south of 10th and Harrison. And also, Sports Day brought to you in part by the Marmy Auto Group on 10th Street here in Great Bend. We're going to take a quick break, and then Wyatt Thompson's waiting for you on the other side. You're listening to Sports Day here on 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM.
C&E Doors, this is Eddie.
Papa, are you ready to get back to work?
Back to work? But I've been here the whole time.
But I'm back in school. You're gonna have to run the shop without me.
It will be hard without you, but people know that we provide the best service no matter the time of the year.
You could always ask me, Mom, for more help.
Who do you think is really running this place?
Garage door sales, service, and repair at C&E Doors in Great Bend and Hayes.
Community bankers should actually know your community. Hi, I'm Sean Powelson, president of Your Local Equity Bank. As someone who lives here, I know many of you, and I know what's important to you. I've been in the industry a long time, and I've helped many navigate through financial challenges and lead them to financial opportunities. I believe that people bank with people, so I'd like to invite you to stop by one of our region's 5 locations and meet our friendly, helpful staff. Let us show you our commitment to serving you and our communities. Because at Equity Bank, we're right here beside you. Member FDIC.
It's all here at Great Bend Rec.
Sports, leisure, fitness, and wellness, even senior and adaptive needs. It's all here at the Great Bend Rec. Pick up a program guide or stop by the rec office at 1214 Stone in Great Bend or check out the all-new website, greatbendrec.com. Live, play, explore at the rec.
It's all here at Great Bend Rec. Live, play, explore at the rec.
Marmy Auto Group makes it happen. Central and Western Kansas. Check out our selection of new and pre-owned inventory. Marmy's friendly staff offers top quality service that you've gotten to know over the years. When your existing vehicle needs parts or service, our experienced team will get you back in the game this season. Marmy Chevrolet, GMC, Ford and Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep Ram, parts, service, and body shop. Visit Marmy Auto Group on 10th Street or marmys.net. Marmys, make it happen.
Welcome back into Sports Day. Brant Daughtry now joined by Wyatt Thompson, the voice of the Kansas State Wildcats. And Wyatt, not the week that Wildcat fans wanted to see. Army comes in, they get paid a little more than $1 million, and somehow walk out of there with a win. What did you see on Saturday?
Well, it was a frustrating game because I think at the end of the day, when you start analyzing it and watching tape and what have you, I think K-State played pretty decent football in the first half. And when you look at the full 30 minutes, I think for about 24 or 5 minutes, K-State was the better team. But they did allow Army to go down and score on the final play of the half. And I thought that led to a huge momentum shift, and I think everybody else felt it too. Army goes down 13-7, and they have the ball to start the third quarter, and then they dominated with holding on to the ball in the third quarter and turned the game kind of in their favor. So, you know, you can crunch all the numbers you want to, but at the end of the day, they dominated in the second half in ball control and 6 of 7 on fourth down conversions and all of those kind of things. Quarterback runs it 41 times, and they find a way to win, and K-State did not.
Well, last week when you and I spoke, you said that there were some things that you wanted to see out of K-State, and one of them was toughness, and you wanted to see K-State be a little bit tougher, especially on the defensive side of the ball. In watching that game on Saturday, I thought back to that conversation and said, I think Wyatt's going to be a little bit disappointed with that.
Yeah, without a doubt. And I think when you play a Service Academy team, the one thing that you know you're going to get is toughness and discipline with them. And that's in part why I said that, but also in part because K-State over the years in my time here, they've always been one of those teams that they play so hard. And it doesn't matter what the score is. You know, you have, I had a guy say one time, the great thing that I appreciate about K-State football is you can't tell really if they're up 40-7 or down 40-7, they play hard the same way. I thought that was as nice a compliment as you could possibly give a football program. And I don't know that still to this point we've played with the kind of toughness that I think Coach Kleiman wants to see, frankly.
You know, it was an interesting game watching what happened in that contest. K-State's offense only touched the ball 6 times throughout that game, and part of that was ball control, part of it was the kickoff return touchdown. Do you think that there was a better way for K-State to go about it other than, well, just get off the field defensively?
That's a really interesting question because I think the easy answer, other than getting off the field defensively, is when K-State had opportunities, and yes, they were few and far between in the second half, you had to convert some plays, and especially on third down. And I can remember at least one off the top of my head where I felt like they had, a pretty good opportunity and let it slip through their fingers. Normally, you can live with that. But against this type of an opponent that really had kind of things going their way, it just mounts on you, right? And I think the defense, this is an odd thing to say, but I know Coach Kleiman probably was one of those guys that got cracked on after the game for the fact that he said the kids, he was proud of their effort. Well, what I think he meant by that, and I'm not trying to defend him, even though it's going to sound like it, but what I think what he was talking about is against that team, if you hold them to 24 points and you hold them to 3.4 yards per carry, that's pretty good. But it wasn't good enough in this game. I think that's what he was talking about. You can't have them run 41 times with their quarterback and 70 rushing attempts, and you have 18 minutes time of possession and expect to win, regardless of the defensive effort. And I do think that they gave good effort. If you hold them to 3.4 yards per, that's good work. The problem is that they're going to go for it on fourth down every time. You don't have to be a mathematician very often to go 3, 6, 9, 12. That's a first down. And that's part of the pain of playing those guys, frankly.
When you got that kickoff return touchdown, I think it was in the third or early fourth quarter of that game, there was an interview with Coach Kleiman on the sidelines where he said, well, we're happy to have the touchdown, but I kind of wish I could give my defense a rest. How much do you think defensive fatigue played a part in this game?
Yeah, it was good to see Bryce house that one because it was so much needed in terms of just momentum after giving up the lead. You're down 14-13, and then boom, you get that. Boom, you get the 2-point conversion, and you're up 21-14, and you're thinking, okay, as tough as it's been, we'll be all right. Well, then you have to send a very deflated defense and a tired defense right back out there, and Army took advantage of that. To me, that was one of the real big things in the game. Rarely do you hear a coach say that I would have rather have had the ball and put together a 60, 70, 80-yard drive there ourselves as opposed to that. And I understand it. But, when you say things like that, it grabs people's attention. I think he was really proud of Bryce and getting that. But, again, if the object is to win the game and that's it, then you would have much rather had your offense on the field and start to try to get the clicking again.
Let's talk quickly about next week, and then we'll move on to some broader picture stuff. You got Arizona, traveling to Arizona, actually, and this is a team that has looked impressive so far through 2 games, albeit against some weaker competition. They put up 40 points in both games they've played. What are you seeing from the Wildcats?
Well, it's an interesting thing because it's a quick turn. You play the Friday night game in Tucson, and they are better, or at least I think they are better. Again, the competition is what it is, but they've been dominant in that competition, winning 40-6 against Hawaii and 48-3 against kind of an overmatched Weber State team last week. They have 2 new coordinators. They have one of the best quarterbacks in the league, arm talent-wise, in Noah Fafita. They don't have Tetaroa McMillan back, and that's a blow for them. However, They've done a really nice job in the portal with a Washington State, Chattanooga, and New Mexico transfers, and they're playing about 10 or 11 receivers, and they're also running the ball. The other factor is, regardless of competition, with Danny Gonzalez, their new defensive coordinator, they're playing faster, they're playing with more of an edge and playing very physical. K-State's going to have to match that. I mean, and that's kind of simply stated. I believe the environment there will be really good, and it's going to be a really, really difficult thing. You've got to, have a good start and put a little doubt in their mind right out of the gate after whooping them here in Manhattan last year. That's the way I see it anyway.
So let's talk big picture. Obviously, Kansas State, the team that was expected to compete for a Big 12 title this year, now we're 3 games in, and things are a little bit shaky on that front. Do you feel like this is a team that needs just a get-right game, or is this a more permanent issue?
Well, it's a pretty good question. I don't know that I have the right answer at the moment. At some point, I think what I would try to say in answering that is that there's a reason K-State was ranked in the preseason, and there's a reason that a lot of people thought that they could vie for the Big 12 championship. They have not played to that level yet. Now, you go back a year ago and you think about Arizona State. Nobody thought that they were going to win the Big 12, and they did. They weren't perfect early. They grew as the season went on. Why can't K-State do that? I think they can. Is it a lock? No. Do they have a lot of things to clean up? Yes. The biggest thing for me, I think, is getting that offensive line to where they're getting a better push in the run game, and then that makes the throw game a little bit easier, and now all of a sudden you're a pretty good football team offensively. If you can make that happen sooner rather than later, I'll take my chances, because I think with Kleiman and Klanderman, this team will continue to fight defensively, and they will get better. They have not played the way they're capable of either, but I think, they do have capabilities for sure.
If K-State is able to turn this around, give me one player on either side of the ball that is going to be the biggest part of that turnaround.
Ooh, that's a good one. I would say I'll give you 2 on the offensive side, because we think Dylan Edwards will still be iffy, and we know J.B. Bradley will not play. So that puts some pressure on the next man up. Is that next man up Sterling Lockett? Is it Jamiri Davis? Is it Adonis Moise, or a combination of all 3? I think that would be, where I would look on the offensive side. On the defensive side, I don't know if it's as much about, a single person, but I think getting Ryan Davis back will help everybody up there maybe not have to play quite as many plays, especially if Malcolm Alcorn Crowder can come back too. Now you have some depth, and it's highly likely that both of those guys will play some. Maybe more, too, from Gunnar Maldonado. So maybe I'm just trying to describe a healthier defense where you don't have to play a Damon Alalio, 75 plays would certainly make a difference.
Wyatt, thanks for taking the time to come on today, man. If people wanted to hear more from the voice of the Kansas State Wildcats, how could they do it?
Well, they can always get a hold of me. My email is catboyce@kstatesports.com. I'm always, or at least try to be very open and honest with the fan base, and I always try to make myself as available as I can. So get a hold of me, and I still have some correspondence to finish this week, as you might surmise. But hey, I like that. That's part of the gig.
Absolutely, Wyatt. Thanks for coming on today, man. Enjoyed having you.
Thank you, partner. Appreciate you, bud.
That's Wyatt Thompson, the voice of the Kansas State Wildcats, here on Sports Day. Big thanks to Wyatt Thompson for joining me on the show. I'm telling you, that dude is just one of the nicest guys in this business. And, we've spoken on the phone, I think, 3 times. And you can tell just from, the off-air conversation, a little bit of chit-chat back and forth that we've had. Dude is genuine. He is so incredibly nice. And he also volunteered to do this. I was hoping to just get him on once or twice. But he kind of had the idea, hey, do you want to make this a weekly thing? And I said, heck yeah, I do. So really thankful for Wyatt Thompson for agreeing to do this. Super nice guy. I think when he offered that, he was expecting a little bit of a better showing from Kansas State football, at least as it stands right now. But let's be real. This team's not done. They've just got a lot of work to do. And they've got to get it figured out quickly. He talked a little bit about Arizona Noah Fafita is averaging 267 passing yards a game. That's really dadgum good. I think he put it very well. In terms of arm talent, he's one of the best quarterbacks in the conference. He's a really special athlete. He's got some good receivers. Like you said, they rebuilt their receiver room after their top guy got drafted last year. This is going to be a tough matchup for the Wildcats. And, I just realized it's Wildcat on Wildcat violence happening Saturday. Arizona, also the Wildcats. But Noah Fafita is the big name to watch, obviously. He's the quarterback. And they've hung 40 points in the 2 games they've played. So, yes, overwhelmed competition to a point. But still, either way, just not an easy matchup by any means. So, Kansas State needs to get it together, man. That linebacker room was the marketing campaign coming into the season, and this year they have not lived up to the hype. Austin Romaine was supposed to be an all Big 12 type of performer, ceiling of Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year, and so far he's been present, but he hasn't been a major factor for Kansas State, and I feel like things are kind of crumbling around him because of that. And like Wyatt said, they've got to get healthy. You cannot have defensive players playing 75 snaps a game. You just can't. Defensive football is so much about pursuit and so much about reading and reacting, going to his place, and then running to wherever the ball is. And you can't chase down guys 75 plays in a row. There's not a player who can do that effectively in this world or any other. So I don't know. They've got to get healthy. They've got to get more from their big-name players, and they're going to have to do it soon because, again, Arizona is a team that wants to air the ball out. They want to put up big numbers, and they've got the personnel to do it. So that's something that's going to have to change pretty quickly if you're Arizona. All right, we've got to get to our next break. Actually, before we do that, need to read this off. Sports Day brought to you by Equity Bank, adding value for customers and communities. Equity Bank in Great Bend, Hoisington, and Larned. See the locations tab at equitybank.com for more locations. Also, Sports Day is brought to you by Sutherland's, helping you build it better since 1917. From quality lumber and plywood to OSB cabinets, plumbing, hardware, and power tools, they have everything you need to get the job done. Visit Sutherland's on 10th Street. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about the Kansas City Royals. You're listening to Sports Day here on 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM.
Sutherland's is your complete home improvement and hardware store. Tens of thousands of products are in stock at everyday low prices. Sutherland's also offers custom buildings, including post-frame barns, garages, and deck packages too. The friendly and knowledgeable staff at Sutherland's, always ready to help you with any project. From hardware, lumber, cabinets, plywood, and OSB, fencing, power tools, furniture, and more. They simply sell for less. Sutherland's, West 10th, Great Bend, helping America build it better since 1917.
Service from people you know, quality products and professional installation. That's Kern Floor Service. Stop by Kern Floor Service and browse through the different selections of flooring from laminate to vinyl, carpet, wood, and ceramic tile. See their selection of area rugs or special order the one that fits your decor, and don't forget, they can spice up those countertops too. So stop by Kern Floor Service today. Kern Floor Service, 908 Coolidge in Great Bend.
Needing a healthcare plan for your business? Let the experienced team at Freedom Claims Management Incorporated customize a health insurance plan that fits your needs. Whether you're a large company or a small business on Main Street, FCMI can help you provide employees with great health coverage at an affordable cost. From setup to ongoing support, they handle it all. Schedule your free no-obligation health assessment today at freedomclaimsinc.com. That's Freedom Claims Management Incorporated, with locations in Great Bend, Russell, and Plainville. Selling your farm or ranch acres can be stressful. At Red Cedar Land Company, they are extremely diverse in the number of ways they can represent you, and they tailor each project to meet their seller's needs. One of the biggest questions for a seller is, what is my land worth? At Red Cedar Land Company, they offer a free market analysis to help you better understand the value of your land. You deserve a better selling experience. Put your trust in Red Cedar Land Company. Call Cody Crook with Red Cedar Land Company at 620-617-7320.
Get on the fast track to earn your national certification with Barton Community College's new Medical Lab Assistant program. In less than 1 year, you'll gain hands-on training to work in medical labs, clinics, and hospitals, delivering critical patient care.
With flexible learning, including 100% online courses and lab hours at your local hospital, you can grow your career or start fresh. Healthcare needs skilled professionals like you. Enroll now at mla.bartonccc.edu.
I like the bumper music that's on this show. I've been thinking about kind of taking some stuff out, putting new stuff in. I don't know if I want to, though, because every bumper song on this show is so good. And they just, they get me in a good mood. Welcome back to Sports Day. I'm Brant Daughtry. Landon Winkler is over there in the captain's chair, keeping us on the air. Landon, go wide and wave at the camera. Thank you. We're going to talk a little bit about the Kansas City Royals as they are they're in a bad spot after last night. I mentioned at the top of the show, they were nearly no hit. They got to one out in the 8th inning when, what was his name? Gosh, I can't remember the name of the pitcher, but the pitcher for the Guardians, who has not been great this year, has an ERA over 4.5, but was able to hold the Royals hitless through 8 1/3. And we talked about this on yesterday's show, how inconsistent this offense is. There will be times where, the superstars will show up. Bobby Witt Jr. will have a great game, or Vinny Pasquantino, or Salvador Perez, one of those three guys. Nick Lofton has had games. Jonathan India has had games. Of course, he's hurt right now. But you will have these games where the offense looks like it's supposed to. The role players will do their role, and the superstars will look like superstars. But there are also times where the bats just go dead. And that happened last night. The Royals did scratch 2 runs across in the 8th and 9th inning, but you were already down 10-0 at that point. Ryan Bergert, who's been a really good trade acquisition for the Royals, he's been really, really solid since coming over. I think was it from the Guardians? No, I think it was the Padres is where he was. But he had a really bad night last night. Sounds the past 24 hours you heard him. He gave up 6 runs in the 4th inning. That made it 8-0 Guardians, and the game was pretty much over at that point. That means that the Royals drop 3 games out of a wild card spot. The Guardians move ahead of them, so now the Guardians are once again closer to that wild card spot. We're not in must-win territory for the Royals, but only because mathematically, no, they do not technically have to win these next 2 games. But they darn close have to win these next 2 games. Looking at the standings, like I said, they're now in 3rd in the wild card race, which is wild because they're only 3 games out of it. But you've got, I believe it's the Yankees and Mariners are ahead of them, and then the Guardians are also ahead of them. So the jostling for position for that last AL wild card spot is going to come down to the wire. But this is a series that if the Royals don't win these next 2 games, or if Cleveland sweeps the Royals in these 3 games, this could very well be something that eliminates the Royals down the line, even though mathematically they'd still be in it. But let's look at the schedule here. Let's play the schedule game. This is always a fun one to play, especially because there's only about 3 weeks left in the regular season for Major League Baseball. You got these 2 against the Guardians, where tonight they play at 5:40. Tomorrow they play at 6:15. Both of those games can be heard right here on 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM. So you got to win those games because that's the team that you're closest to in the wild card standings. All right, what's next? Oh boy, you got to travel to face the Philadelphia Phillies, who are one of the best teams in baseball. I said this on yesterday's show. I hate the Phillies. I have pretty much always hated the Phillies. I'm a Braves fan. I can't like any team in the NL East. The 2 teams in the world that I hate the most in the sport of baseball are the Phillies and the Mets. And the Phillies right now, unfortunately, are really stinking good. And there's just not a whole lot that can be done about that. But I don't know. I'd be shocked to see the Royals take 2 out of 3, especially in Philadelphia. That's going to be that's going to be a really, really rough series. And it's not like the Phillies can kind of roll over, hold their starters back, and afford to not win these games because the Mets have also been surging kind of down the stretch. And while I think the Phillies are still in the driver's seat in that division, the Mets are close enough to where they can't really rest on their laurels. Okay, so you've got 2 must-win games against the Guardians because you've got a super challenging series in Philadelphia coming up. Okay, what's after that? Well, you return home to Kaufman. That's good news. But then you got to face the Mariners, who are also in that wild card race with you. And that's not going to be a fun matchup. They have the guy, Cal Raleigh, big dumper. He's probably going to be the MVP. You would certainly think so at this point. We told you his stats yesterday. Then you host the Blue Jays. The Blue Jays aren't fantastic, but they're still in the running for that division, I believe. Hold on. Let me do some Googling here. This is good. This makes for great radio. AL standings. Here we go. Okay, yeah, the Blue Jays are leading the East. I don't know what I'm talking about. The Blue Jays are ahead of the Yankees in the AL East. I didn't know that. They're 82-61. Okay, so that makes it even more difficult. You got that series at home, but you're facing the Mariners, who have the MVP. You're facing 2 division leaders in 3 series, and the Mariners, who have the MVP. What's after that? Okay, now you travel to face the Los Angeles Angels. Shouldn't be too bad a series, but let's look what happened last week. The Royals lost 2 out of 3 to the Angels last week. That was a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday series. And the Angels, who by all means should not have won those 3 games, won 2 out of 3. That's going to be tough. And then, you end the year with not the Oakland Athletics. You can't call them the Oakland Athletics anymore. They're the team formerly known as Oakland the Athletics. You should win that series pretty much going away. The Athletics have given up on the season. They're mathematically eliminated. I'm pretty sure we talked about yesterday, so that should be a series you win. But, hey, are the Royals mathematically eliminated by that point? Is that just a meaningless series that we're playing at the very end of the year for the entertainment of fan bases and fan bases only? I don't know the answer to that question. But I do know that the Royals' final couple of games here, if you want to stay relevant down the stretch, you've got to win at least one of these final 2 games against the Guardians, probably both of them, and then you got to shock some people in Philadelphia. If you can pull those 2 things off, I think you've got a shot. But you're running out of time here to be like, well, okay, we're over 500. That's good news. But in the long run, how good are you? All right, we've got to take our final break of the show. Sports Day is brought to you by Kern Floor Service. Whether you need a new ceramic, porcelain, or natural stone floors, our knowledgeable and friendly flooring experts are here to help you find the perfect floor for your lifestyle, home decor, and budget. Visit the Great Bend Showroom at 908 Coolidge to see, touch, and feel the latest styles. Also brought to you by Cody Crook of Red Cedar Land Company. Whether you're looking to sell your land or find the right property to buy, Cody takes pride in understanding your goals and making the process as smooth as possible. Call Cody at 620-617-7320. All right. We got to take our final break of the show. When we come back, Landon had a question for me earlier that I thought was pretty interesting, so we're going to talk about it on the show. That'll be the final bit that we have here. You're listening to Sports Day here on 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM.
Central and Western Kansas residents, are you looking for a new vehicle? Marmy Auto Group can make it happen. Marmy Auto Group includes Ford, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep and Ram, Chevrolet, and GMC. Marmy Auto Group, your Central and Western Kansas dealer, has new and pre-owned vehicles, or we can special order your vehicle today. If your existing vehicle needs serviced, Marmy's award-winning service department can help. Come to Marmy Auto Group on 10th or marmys.net. Marmys, make it happen.
It's all here at Great Bend Rec.
Sports, leisure, fitness, and wellness, even senior and adaptive needs. It's all here at the Great Bend Rec. Pick up a program guide or stop by the rec office at 1214 Stone in Great Bend or check out the all-new website, greatbendrec.com. Live, play, explore at the rec.
It's all here at Great Bend Rec. Live, play, explore at the rec.
Community bankers should actually know your community. Hi, I'm Sean Powelson, president of your local Equity Bank. As someone who lives here, I know many of you and I know what's important to you. I've been in the industry a long time and I've helped many navigate through financial challenges and lead them to financial opportunities. I believe that people bank with people, so I'd like to invite you to stop by one of our region's 5 locations and meet our friendly, helpful staff. Let us show you our commitment to serving you and our communities. Because at Equity Bank, we're right here beside you. Member FDIC.
C&E Doors, this is Eddie.
Papa, are you ready to get back to work?
Back to work? But I've been here the whole time.
But I'm back in school. You're gonna have to run the shop without me.
It will be hard without you, but people know that we provide the best service no matter the time of the year.
You could always ask me, Mom, for more help.
Who do you think is really running this place?
Garage door sales, service, and repair at C&D Doors in Great Bend and Hayes.
Welcome back to Sports Day. Final segment here on this Tuesday. Brant Daughtry here with you live in the Mayo Money Management Studio. Landon Winkler's going to turn on the microphone. Actually, I'm going to turn on the microphone. Landon Winkler's going to speak into it. Landon, you had a question for me earlier after our conversation with Wyatt Thompson. What was that question? Go ahead and tell the people.
Right. So I was thinking, the K-State versus Army game, I was thinking, why is it such a surprise? I was thinking that the Army had actual, Marines and Navy SEALs and stuff. Well, that's obviously, I'm getting so many people wrong. Like Green Berets or whatever.
Army Rangers.
Yeah, Army Rangers and stuff like that. And they were on the team. And so I'm thinking, yeah, of course, the Army would win. We've got, natural athletes. Not saying that, that football players aren't natural athletes, but, you know what I mean.
You've got trained military
exactly
going against college kids. That's not the case. You've got you have college kids who are training to go into the military, who are also who are also really good football players. And the thing is that the thing that we kind of came down to was it's such a different skill set, going into the military. And I talked about it with Wyatt in our conversation. The thing that you do see with that military training that these kids get, which, by the way, a day in the life of a military academy student who is also an athlete is insane. If you've never seen what those days look like, I encourage anybody to go look that up. But these kids are not gifted football players. What they are is extraordinarily tough and disciplined. They work really well together, and that's why they run an offense like the triple option. They don't necessarily have the athletes to run the more modern spread stuff. What they do, Landon, is they make really good decisions really quickly, and they will not be just pushed around. They never give up, and they're super tough to deal with. And that's what Wyatt said. The interview is like, man, these guys are so annoying to play because they just won't quit, and that makes them extremely difficult to face. But I thought that was a really interesting question that Landon had earlier, and I figured, well, you know what? There's probably someone listening who's got the same line of thinking, at least in some way. But, thanks, Landon, for filling the final couple of minutes of the show. That's going to do it for today's episode of Sports Day. Tomorrow's going to be a good one. Going to have Cole Wright from Kansas Sports Chatter on. Going to have, who knows what else is going to happen. Hopefully a decent bit. We'll see you then. I'm Brant Daughtry. Thank you for having me. This has been Sports Day here on 1590 KBGB and 95.5 FM.